Guess who's back? Back again. Tron is back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with special guest Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater, and now we're going to talk about it right after the movie in the parking structure in Matt's Honda Pilot. And we're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie? Can you bring a date? Should you bring your kids? Should you go by yourself? Do you need to pay attention the whole time? Or can you slack off and nap, craft, or snack? Or are you going to have some people talking behind you, which happened tonight, and you get tired of it, and I don't understand it, and have some proper theater etiquette. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and I do have proper theater etiquette. I'll
You
tell
sure
you.
do.
Yeah, so we saw this movie tonight, as Todd alludes to in his opening tonight. We saw Tron Ares, the latest Tron movie, and we're going to talk all about it. But first things first, Tim, who's in this that we might know?
Well, if we're going to talk about Tron, we have to have Jeff Bridges, who's not a big part of this one, but they have to connect it to the original, so he shows up as the same character he's been playing in these. He's just kind of the connector to the other ones, whereas I would argue this one's more standalone. We have Evan Peters shows up in this as the son of the rival tech company. He's probably most famous for
The grandson.
the grandson. Sorry, for being probably most famous for being the Fox Quicksilver in the X-Men movies. He played Jeffrey Dahmer on that Netflix show.
He did. He's all over American Horror Story.
And American Horror Story has kind of been his
If
thing.
Ryan Murphy made it, you better believe
Evan
Peters
show
was
up.
in it.
Yep. And then we also have Jodie Turner-Smith shows up in this as one of the rival programs to Ares. And we also have Gillian Anderson of the X-Files back in the day. She's the mother of Evan Peters' character, and not necessarily approving of what he's up to. And as far as anything else, I don't think the director, I don't know his name, but unlike Daft Punk did the soundtrack for the last one, and we have Nine Inch Nails doing the soundtrack for this movie, which is very much as much of a character in this as the movie itself.
Fair enough. Yes. Okay, so what is Tron Ares all about? Well, Tron itself, movies about people going into the world of computers. There's like this electronic world where programs exist in
The
sort
grid.
of the grid,
they call
right?
it, yes.
As human avatars
Yeah.
within the grid. And so this movie is no different. Maybe a slight difference is that the programs have figured out a way to get out of the... Well, they didn't figure it out.
But they
anyway,
were brought
humans
to.
figured out how to bring the programs out into the quote-unquote real world, off the grid. And so we've got the two rival companies who have been in this before, Encom, the quote-unquote good guys, and Dillinger, is that the other?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the last name. Is that the name of the company, though?
I think
Oh no,
is.
it was on his disc when he showed it. I forget the name.
Oh, I think it was Dillinger. It
I
says
think it
Dillinger.
was.
I think
I think it
Dillinger
was.
Systems or something like
Yeah.
that.
So anyway, these two companies are racing for dominance and AI and being able to generate things from the grid. But there's a problem. Everything evaporates after 29 minutes and turns back into dust, basically. So both companies are on the hunt for something called the permanence code, which is going to enable things to be permanent in the world of where we live, off the grid, who come from the grid world. And then we've got one of the programs who comes over a few times is called Ares, Tron Ares, the name of the movie, right? And so he's on his own journey to try and understand what it is to live in a human world, and eventually kind of steers away from his programming and gains some form of sentience. Anyway, so the whole movie is really about a battle for finding out this permanence code and our main heroine discovers the permanence code, and so the bad guys are trying to get it from her, and she's trying to preserve it, and that's where we go. Chase ensues with all kinds of electronic things in the real world and people in the grid world, and that's what I'll say about that. Todd, what will you say about Tron Ares?
So I think my opening statement, I would like to say, I think I'm going to end up liking this movie.
Okay.
But there was a lot of eye rolling at times and heavy sighs.
Yeah.
I can't hide that fact. But I would like to touch on something first.
Go.
Touch on it.
So I've been reading a lot about people calling this like the Jared Leto curse or whatever, and like bringing up movies like Suicide Squad, Morbius, other movies that bombed.
He's had a run lately.
That he has been in and stuff like that. And I think the people who blame him for those are dumb. And I believe that because I don't think he is a bad actor. In those movies, the movies are bad themselves. It's not him that tanks those movies. I mean, not at all. And I've seen all those movies. Yeah. So now the other thing, and this is sometimes where you come for the hot gossip, I've been hearing rumblings that he's not a great person in real life, and there are things being thrown out against him. And if this movie's going to bomb, that's the reason why it should bomb, and people are going to not see it. Not because of the other movies that they're like, well, he ruined those movies.
Right.
You're dumb if you think that. That's not what happened at all. Those movies are really bad because they are bad scripts, bad shot, bad everything. And I don't think he was that bad in those.
And this is why you listen to us, because we judge each movie based on its merits.
Right. So I'd like to start with that. Now, I thought Jared Leto did a very good job in this movie. He's playing a program. He starts emotionless throughout the movie. He starts to get more. He's growing. He's evolving. And I liked that. I thought it was such a... it wasn't so,
It wasn't an over-the-top performance.
Yeah, it wasn't so fast and it wasn't so over-the-top. It's just subtle things of who he is at the beginning, and then you kind of have some check-ins with him in the middle of the movie, and you're like, okay, I can see his character evolving and his personality, and I like that aspect. Now, to talk about the rest of the acting, I thought Evan Peters did a fine job. He's fine in what he does and stuff like that. I thought the woman who is almost the main character of this movie, really it's Ares that's the main character, but I would argue she's the second main character.
Yeah.
I didn't think she was very good. I just thought a lot of her scenes where she's supposed to be showing emotional depth was not there, and some of those scenes were very important to the movie. And I just thought some of those fell flat. I'm not saying she was bad. I just don't think for someone who's a co-main character didn't, I don't know, swing hard enough or swing for the fences. I don't know, maybe she tried to play it safe. I just really thought there was something missing in her performance. As far as the story goes, I liked the story. We are following a natural progression of what Tron movies should be. As new technology is introduced, as new people have access to the grid, because it's not governed by one thing. Like, you can access the grid if you have the technology, you understand how it works. So I like the idea that different companies are vying for it. You know, it kind of was a little bit returned to the original, but not so over the top. Of course, when you talk about these movies, the visual effects, the way it's shot, the way it looks was crisp. I thought it looked good. Everything you wanted when you saw Tron Legacy and you were like, I'd like to see more of that. Yep. That's this movie, except for change out blue for red.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. I just really thought some of the things that brought this movie down for me was, and I don't know, people are probably going to hate me for this, I didn't think you needed Jeff Bridges in this movie. I hated it. I hated him being in this movie. He
definitely felt more shoehorned into this.
Yeah, and it was and they have a part where Ares goes back to the original Tron landscape, and that was fun for a hot second, and then but it drags.
Yes,
You're like, oh, get me out of this. There's a reason why this was made so long ago. And
that was groundbreaking at the time.
It just was you're forging a new story ahead. but you're still letting the chains of the past hold you down by feeling like you have to have these things in the movie. Like, I think most Tron fans would be like, we're ready to let go of Flynn and move on to the next. And I strongly dislike that this movie does not tie into the second one, really, almost at all. There's a little bit of glimpse
at the end,
somewhat at the end. Potentially a fourth movie that might bring it all together, but based on how this movie's bombing, that's probably not going to be made at this point. But it's just like, there was something there, and I dug it, and I would almost argue if they're going to make a next Tron movie, the Tron movie should be about immigration. It should be about the computer programs coming into our world, and then people don't want that because it's less space for us. And I'm like, okay, that's a compelling story right there. I'm all about it.
This is the AI
like,
one. Yep, no, that makes sense.
Or the vice versa. We're sending overpopulation into, like, there's just so many ways to take this kind of stuff, and we keep pigeonholing this into a small singular idea that has to include Jeff Bridges, and it has to make him a hippie, and it has to be the light shows of the vehicles that all look cool, and I love seeing it, but at the same time, I'm like, we are evolving this story past what you guys keep chaining it down to. And it's time to, if this current director doesn't want to do it, and you are going to make another movie, it's time to let someone in there who's just going to take this to a whole new level. And I felt like this movie tried to take it to a whole new level, but really didn't. They didn't explain enough. Like, I mean, Tron is filled with, like, this just happens and you accept it. But, like, the transfer of people to the digital universe to our universe again is, like, how are these lasers making that? It looks like they're 3D printed. But then it's like, you know, we're starting to throw human DNA in that. It's like, I wasn't given enough on why these lasers could make, that seems to be 3D printing stuff, could make a human body at this point. Like, that was flesh and everything it needed to be.
And even the line in the movie is, it should make you exactly as you were. Well, how? Has
it
ever
exactly.
been done before?
We've had 3 movies where this stuff is just really not gone into, and it's like, you can't continue this story without really diving into some of the dynamics of that. Like, we are just shown, like, we were introduced in this movie, the very first thing, into the creation of this program and stuff like that.
Right.
And then literally in the first 10 minutes, we have the program coming to our world, which was the main story of 2 about how that's not possible. Like,
right.
And then now this is the crux of the story. And it's like, there's no explanation of how they got from point A to point B, how they're making that work. So again, I am going to land on, I like this movie. But these kind of movies, as long as the soundtrack was great, which I thought it was, and as long as I was visually stimulated, there wasn't too much of a point where I was like, all right, come on, let's move it along here, except for when we were in the 80s Tron landscape. I was like, I've been there, we've seen this. Like, this doesn't look good when you go back from what we're seeing. Like, I know you want to point out this is where we started, but we could all go back and see the original Tron movie at this point. And, yeah, I mean, I liked it. I think if you were a fan of the other ones at all, you should see this movie. If you just want 2.5, 2 hours, whatever, however long it was, if you just want a 2-hour movie that you can just escape to, I think this is the perfect movie for you. Like, you don't need to pay attention. You don't need to, like, you can just zone out and enjoy the colors. And this would be a great movie to get high and go to, I think. Like, so, yeah, I mean, I liked it. I'm going to endorse it. It's not going to get a stellar rating, but I think it's going to get above a middle rating. So we'll take it from there. Tim?
Yeah, it's I'm with you, Todd. Like, there's nothing really bad about this movie. The question I would argue is, was this movie needed? Because to me, Legacy, and I didn't have a big attachment to Tron. I liked it just fine. Visually, obviously, they've both been amazing movies for their times, and, like, you know, they leave an impression on you, even if they weren't the best stories in them. But I thought Legacy, to me, was a great, we went back to this world, we're closing all the chapters, we're tying it all in a bow. And after I saw Legacy, I remember thinking, well, that's cool, that's good, I'm good with Tron, we're done. And so when this one was announced and there were trailers, and I'm like, what, why? Like, you know, and I don't feel the technology jump from 82 to 2010, which was huge, is the same here, going from 2010 to 2025. A lot of the cool things still look cool, don't get me wrong, but, like, it didn't seem new and groundbreaking in this one. Like now we maybe have some new vehicles and maybe like new swords that had the light trails on them, but that was it. And it was just like the effects haven't jumped the way that they did there, so it's like just more of the same. Not that it's not cool to look at, but the depth of it is not the shocking. Just like when you see these Jurassic Park movies now, it's like, okay, well, the dinosaurs aren't shocking anymore. We've seen what they look like. I do agree with the acting. Jared Leto, I thought, did a good job as a computer program, trying to understand his directive and what he's going to do and his evolution as the movie goes on. With maybe some dry humor thrown in that I thought didn't always land, but they were going for it. Like, it's still a Disney movie. I thought, Peters was good as the kind of the villain in over his head, not realizing what the menace he's unleashing and the chaos. But yeah, that was really it for standing out. Gillian Anderson's just kind of there to be a plot point for Evan Peters' character, not really any depth to her. And then, like you said, Jeff Bridges just shows up to be Jeff Bridges for a hot second, and it seemed forced. Like, we want to show the old graphics in today's world. Here's a fun little scene, and let's have him wax poetic with our main character and as he learns stuff. And it did feel forced in, like, we got to connect it somehow. When I actually thought when they did the first couple minutes of this movie is kind of a little plot recap where you see old school Jeff Bridges on a computer explaining the technology. And I was like, that's a great way to put him in there where it's natural, kind of filling in viewers on, hey, if you remember Tron, here's what it's about. And but I think the thing was with that, they used the exposition dump a lot in this movie. And yes, it was a way to show Jared Leto's character learning, but it also was kind of we'll fast forward the story by he just hacks these things and learns that way. And here's all your exposition that you need as an audience to figure out who these characters are. So there was not a lot of depth other than his character, I would argue. And but then again, Tron hasn't always been about depth. It's been about visuals and cool stories and AI run amok and technology versus humanity, and whether or not they nailed those themes or really dove into them as much as you'd want or could, or the potential like you talked about, Todd. I agree. Right. It's just it's there, but it's just kind of surface level, and that's fine. If you want the visuals, you got the visuals, and you got a crazy soundtrack. This one being different than Legacy, but in its own way, and it worked for this movie. But I just don't know how many more times we can do this and make it interesting. Now, they did tease sort of another one, whether or not we'll get it or not. I might be more interested in that. I just don't know.
Not based off the numbers we're seeing. For
I just don't know if it's going to happen. Now, maybe it'll be a Disney Plus show or something, but I don't know what the audience is for Tron. I don't think it's this mega epic cult following that people think it is. But or Disney thinks it is, I should say. But they are cool to look at. I can't deny that. Matt?
Yeah, so good things that I liked about this movie. Mm-hmm. I liked watching it.
Yes.
Visually, very nice. I liked the soundtrack at the beginning of the movie. And I really liked the let's tie all the movies together intro to the movie. Like, yes. I thought that was great.
Great way to.
It was like, oh, okay, I remember mm-hmm. this stuff happening now. That being said, I was pretty underwhelmed by the mm-hmm. movie overall.
That's fair.
I thought that the story was pretty weak. It was engaging for a while, but it really had some pacing problems. Mm-hmm. I thought definitely. Near the end. And really slowed down in a lot of parts, and it's like, whoa, why is everything moving in slow motion? Why does it mm-hmm. have to?
Especially when we establish a 29-minute rule for some of this stuff. And it sure seemed like if the bad guys knew that they had 29 minutes to get their job done, and they would do some aura farming, as they call it these days, to get like these awesome shots.
Maybe not drive a extremely slow giant
machines,
ship.
Whatever they're called. Yeah.
The giant upside down U's.
Yes.
Whatever.
But let's look cool before we even though we have 15 minutes to get these guys.
I thought the soundtrack was, like I said, I thought it was cool in the beginning. I thought it was fairly repetitive as the movie went on.
Yeah,
it's a fine line between being repetitive and having a theme that carries
Correct.
Through.
Yeah.
And I thought this aired
that's
on the
fair.
side of repetitive.
I think that's fair.
It went to the well too many times.
Yeah. And I didn't particularly think any of the acting was very good in this. I guess you could say Jared Leto was playing a robotic character, and so he nailed that. He seemed like a robotic creature.
Yes, no, that's fair.
If we're breaking it down to basics.
Yes. So
He nailed that.
I don't know if he was just being stiff in his delivery or he was actually trying to act that way. It's hard to say.
Because right. Yeah,
He honestly had a Data performance to me of like
that's fair.
Next Gen
From Star Trek. Yep.
Yep.
So anyway, that's all I'll say about that. End of line.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Well, getting down to it, how many triangle master control discs? Which, if it's a triangle, it's not a disc. Makes it weird to me.
Control, which discs were the whole foundation of these movies.
Would you give this movie 0 being the worst because then you got 0 and you can't do anything and you can't throw it at people? 5 being the best because, then you got 5 and you're rocking and rolling. And
you can take a bunch of programs down at once.
A continuing thing I have not liked about Tron movies is that sometimes when they throw the disc, it doesn't come back, but then in the next scene it's right there. And I'm like, I don't get it.
Is it a boomerang or not?
This one, I was just convinced they just regrew. Until this movie, where it comes into play at one point that he throws the disc away and it's gone and he can't use it anymore.
And then he's like, "Oh no!"
I was like, "Well, it just keeps magically appearing throughout the movie. Why is it not there now?" Matt.
Well, I'm going to say 2.4 triangular discs of power.
Right at the midpoint.
Just a little bit below average. In general, I thought the movie was fine. I didn't have a bad time.
No.
I didn't have a good time. It was just fine, and it's done now. So, 2.4 for me.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm in the same ballpark, but I'm just slightly over the midpoint. I'm at a 2.6. Like I said, very visually cool, just not as groundbreaking as Legacy, and nowhere near as good a story as Legacy, which I thought was just a great bow on top for the first Tron. And again, in the end, is this movie necessary? No, not really.
Yeah. In a shocking turn of events, I'm going to bring our rating up a little bit, which typically I'm the one bringing it down. I'm landing on a 2.9, and there's a couple of reasons why it did not cross the 3 threshold. One is that I think the actual movie, the story that should have been this movie, is the fact that literally this technology could cure hunger, cure many things and stuff like that, yet it's still let's grab it and use it for the military. To me, that's the underlying story that was in here that should have been told, and they hint at it at times, but I feel like that's let's tell a story that's gonna leave an impact.
Right.
And then the other reason why it's not crossing the 3 threshold, which I'm having trouble remembering now,
That's right.
was I can't remember.
Okay.
So 2.9 is
Either
where
way,
I'm
it's
at.
falling short.
Yeah, and I was, besides I agree there's pacing issues. I was pretty into it most of the time. Like I said, plenty of times of eye rolling and sighing, and then there was a stupid girl behind us who kept talking. That was driving me nuts. But yeah, I think there's something in this movie. Just the final product was not what it could have been.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Which kind of sucks. You hate seeing that. You hate seeing that there's something. It just didn't evolve like it should have or something like that.
I feel like, though, that's almost a through line with these Tron movies. They're cool, they're visually neat, they have a great soundtrack, but they're fine. They're never great.
Like I said, it's time to move away from Flynn.
Yes.
In the second movie, he's the good guy and the bad guy.
Yeah,
and it's
which was a neat trick.
Too much Flynn.
Yeah,
it's time to stop.
He can be the legacy creator and leave it at that. Yeah.
So.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Last thoughts before we move on from Tron Ares?
I'm okay if they
All right.
make more of this world. I just don't know what its future is. Because obviously, they never do that great in movies, and people kind of discover them later. But we're in the third one now, and I kind of feel like I don't know how many more chances it should get.
Well, it's also the problem with created a movie that costs so much freaking money
Yes.
is that you cannot recoup it. Like,
Right.
you're already several hundred million in for making the movie, then you're another several hundred million in for advertising for the movie, and it's like, when you need the movie to do over like something
Right.
crazy like $800 million, you are setting the movie up for failure, in my opinion.
I mean, look at the year gaps here. Right? 82, and then all the way to 2010.
Yeah. It's
know,
just
so,
like,
yeah.
we don't live in a day and age where, I mean, COVID killed the idea that almost every movie can make a ton of money.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, it killed that. There's only slight movies that slip through the cracks that end up hitting high numbers, like Top Gun Maverick and stuff
Wicked.
like that. Like,
Yeah,
it's
something
not a
special.
guarantee anymore. Like, it's just like, you got to put more into the movie because people are a lot more selective of what they see nowadays because they have so many options at home. Like, and that's the problem with Tron movies a little bit. First Tron came out.
Yep.
You had to wait for VHS and stuff like that. And so like, it built this following. And then now you have Tron Legacy, and then now you have Tron Ares, and it's like, you can see this stuff anytime now. Like, it's almost like the downside of streaming. Like,
Yeah.
you see the new movies coming out, and it's like, oh, I didn't see that till like 15 years ago, and I'm excited. It's like, well, no, it's at the palm of your fingertips now, or whatever. Top of the
Yeah.
tip. You can just do it. Like, so it kills the anticipation for the next movie. Like, I think.
I think that's a fair point.
Fair enough.
But that's not why I got a 2.9.
No,
I
no.
just can't remember why the other reason I got a
That's
2.9.
fine. That's fine.
You'll remember later.
Yeah. And then I'll share it with no one. Because no one will be around.
All right.
If you want to know what I was thinking, email send us a message, and if I
right.
think about it, I will send it back. And also, thank you to the bot or whatever that got us 125 downloads last week.
Whoa, nice.
Yeah. Love that. Love that for us.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed the movie Tron Ares, and we gave it an average rating of 2.6 and a third magical discs of power in triangle form, and out of 5. So, that's a little bit above average. I think we'd all say, if you want to watch something like this, go ahead and watch it. But, don't get your hopes up too high.
Sure.
So, that's what we have to say about that. Please continue to listen to the old podcast, download, subscribe, all those things. Even if you're a bot, we welcome bots.
Yeah.
Everyone can download and
It
subscribe.
just pumps our numbers. Like,
It
what-
pumps
right.
our numbers. We love pumped numbers. So that's it for that, and we will see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da-da.
da da da.
Da-da-da.